Chapter 1. On the university playground, I confessed to Gordon for the 49th time. Gordon smiled and patted my head. Mona, I'm sorry. I still can't accept your confession. Around us were the mocking voices of our classmates. The school beauty, Spring, stood beside Gordon with a smug expression. Mona, why do you keep doing this? How many times has it been? Aren't you tired? We're all tired just watching you. Then she patted Gordon's shoulder. Can't you be a bit more tactful in your rejections? Gordon shrugged helplessly. Their intimate gestures made them look extremely ambiguous. Gordon approached and put his arm around my shoulder. We're going to have lunch. Want to join us, silly girl? He always did this, giving me the illusion that if I tried a little harder, next time I'd succeed. After rejecting me, I stepped back slightly. No, I still have some laws to memorize. I need to go back and study. Gordon seemed used to me refusing him because of studying and snorted coldly. Boring. Then he left with his arm around Spring's shoulder. Boring was something Gordon often said to me. Why do you always wear pants? You have no femininity at all. Boring. You're in college now and still only know how to study. You're like a bookworm. Boring. Other girls can cook, but you can't. Boring. So I changed my tomboyish personality, started wearing skirts, and made bento lunches. I tried to become the gentle and cute girl that Gordon liked. But that wasn't me. I took off the bow from my head and gave the lunch I made for Gordon to the cleaning lady who was sweeping the playground. Chapter 2. While memorizing laws in my dorm, I received a WeChat message from Gordon. For the 50th confession, don't wear the skirt you wore today. It's too ugly. Maybe I took too long to reply, so Gordon sent a second message. My mom said she hasn't seen you in a while and wants you to come over for dinner this weekend. Gordon and I were childhood friends, and I have liked him for a long time. When I confessed for the first time, Gordon made a deal with me that he would agree to be with me after my 50th confession. But I decided to give up after failing for the 49th time. The first 49 times were my pursuit of love. The last time was my insistence on self-respect. Even if he agreed on the 50th time, our relationship would still be unequal. I wanted to be with Gordon, but my life wasn't just about being with him. The first 49 confessions had gradually worn down my feelings for him. I silently blocked him on WeChat and continued memorizing laws. Would Gordon notice? He probably would. After all, if I didn't reply, he would keep sending messages. But he probably wouldn't care. With his roguish good looks and top grades in the school, he wasn't short of beautiful girls around him. Chapter 3. The next day, I wore loose sportswear to class. Gordon was surrounded by Spring and a few other girls, laughing and joking. When he saw me, he just glanced up and down before quickly looking away. Because he liked girls in skirts. Mona, I heard you confessed again yesterday, and unsurprisingly got rejected by Gordon. George, who sat behind me, suddenly said loudly. The surrounding classmates fell silent, looking ready to watch a show. I turned around and saw Gordon looking over too, but he didn't stop him. George continued to mock. I say Gordon and the school beauty are the perfect match. A handsome man and a beautiful woman, a natural pair. You should stop daydreaming. I curled my lips. So what? What's it to you? Do you like the school beauty? George's tone became stammering. You don't talk nonsense. I'm not as delusional as you. At least I like someone and dare to pursue it openly. Do you dare? George was speechless, his face turning livid as he looked at me. Gordon stepped in to smooth things over. All right, all right. Class is starting soon. Let's stop talking. Then he gave me a deep look and sat behind me. I turned back and continued reading. My roommate beside me looked at me with starry eyes. Mona, you're so cool. Before, to maintain the gentle image Gordon liked, I always remained silent in the face of any ridicule. But not anymore. After the first 2 classes, the broadcast suddenly sounded. Our department's genius Go player, Hunter, had won another international competition. The school's TV screen played a video of Hunter being interviewed by reporters after winning the award. Everyone started discussing it enthusiastically. Because of competitions and training, Hunter rarely came to school and didn't interact much with classmates. Everyone was curious about him. Despite being so good at Go, why did he choose to major in law? Chapter 4. My roommate excitedly patted me. Mona, do you know Hunter? I saw him from afar once, and he's so handsome. I nodded. Yes, I know him. He is quite handsome. George overheard and scoffed from behind. Mona, stop bragging. Hunter barely comes to class. How could you know him? Or are you planning to change your target because you can't get Gordon? Don't even think about it. There's no way Hunter would be interested in you. Spring immediately blushed and smiled shyly. No, it's just that he's more reserved and a bit more familiar with me. I'll talk to him next time. We're all classmates, after all. Gordon, playing on his phone nearby, didn't say a word, but when he heard George's remark, "There's no way Hunter would be interested in you," he chuckled coldly. I wasn't lying. I do know Hunter. After all, last night he was holding me tightly in a corner. When he found out that I failed for the 49th time, he immediately took a flight back. I could still see his anxiety when he arrived downstairs at my dorm. Hunter's embrace was so warm that I was reluctant to push him away. Mona, can you consider me now? Hunter's voice was soft and full of hope and grievance, completely mismatched with his cold exterior. Ever since he knew I liked Gordon, he had been waiting for my 49th failure, waiting for me to give him a chance. I hugged him back. Let's see how you perform. Those 4 short words were enough to make the man in front of me so happy that he spun me around several times. As everyone continued their heated discussion, they suddenly saw Hunter walking from the classroom door. Everyone fell silent. A friend beside Spring whispered, "Spring, do you think Hunter is here to see you?" Spring's face lit up, but she still shyly said, "Don't say that." Hunter was wearing a black turtleneck sweater today with a trench coat over it, making his skin look even fairer and his aloofness even more pronounced. He walked straight to my seat and took out 2 movie tickets. He spoke cautiously. "Last time, you said that if I won the championship, you would give me a reward. Shall we go see a movie?" Chapter 5. Everyone around was shocked, unable to believe that I actually knew Hunter and even had a deep connection with him. Sure. Meet me at the school gate after class. Hunter smiled and nodded, then patted my head. Remember to dress warmly. You're not wearing enough. Then he left, satisfied. As soon as Hunter left, the whole class crowded around me, asking how I knew Hunter. Even George shamelessly came over, hoping I would introduce him to Hunter. Hunter was his idol. I just smiled and responded politely. I didn't pay attention to Gordon's already livid face. In the afternoon, as I was taking notes, I was the last one to leave. As I was packing up and heading to the classroom door, Gordon blocked my way. He used his body to block the door. Mona, what's this about playing hard to get? I looked up into his eyes. Gordon, In what capacity are you saying this to me? He suddenly smiled as if admitting defeat and took out 2 movie tickets, moving closer. Isn't it just to force me to accompany you to a boring tearjerker movie? I really don't understand what you girls are thinking. What's so good about these movies? You girls? There were always many girls around Gordon. I stepped back a few steps. Sorry, I'm busy today. Find someone else. I tried to leave, but Gordon grabbed my wrist from behind. What do you mean? Without thinking, I said, I already have plans with someone else. As soon as I said that, we both froze. Gordon's smile turned cold. I see. Mona, holding a grudge is just boring. Do you really think I care who you go to the movies with? Trying to provoke my competitive spirit through another man is really childish. Fine, there are plenty of girls who want to go to the movies with me. I don't need you. After saying that, Gordon let go and walked away. In fact, I was just stating a fact, with no other intentions. It was Gordon who was overthinking. Chapter 6. A few years ago, when my grandmother passed away, I was closest to her, and Gordon knew that. But when I called him, hoping he could come and keep me company, Gordon refused. He had already made plans to play basketball with some friends. At that time, he said to me, I already have plans with someone else. I'll come tomorrow. His tone was even impatient. Gordon did come to keep me company the next day, but the moment I needed him most had already passed. Maybe he saw this as my revenge, but I wasn't that bored. Revenge meant I still cared, but I was slowly learning not to care about him. At the school gate, Hunter was standing in the snow, leaning against a black car, head down. Who knows how long he had been waiting. Even with a mask and hat, his inherent aloofness made him stand out in the crowd. Seeing me, Hunter's dark eyes lit up instantly, and he stepped forward to hug me. I was startled and wanted to push him away, but he didn't move, his lips close to my ear, his tone whining, just a hug. I've been waiting here for so long. I'm freezing. This scene was seen by Gordon, who had just stepped out of the school gate. His expression changed slightly, but the next moment he returned to laughing and joking with his friends, a friend beside him nudged him, and he raised an eyebrow indifferently, walking straight past us. Hunter quickly let go of me and pulled me into the car. In the car, I looked at him curiously. When did you get your driver's license? Didn't your agent always drive for you before? Hunter's ears turned red. I just got my license last month. I can't be chasing after a girl while always bringing a third wheel, can I? Hearing this, my face flushed slightly too. At the cinema, I went to buy popcorn while Hunter waited for me. When I came back, I saw him surrounded by a few girls asking for his WeChat. Hunter gave me a pleading look. Suddenly, I felt a mischievous urge and stood still to see how he would handle it. Normally, Hunter's agent would have stepped in by now. Seeing me not moving, Hunter looked at me with a doting gaze. He then lowered his head and said a few words to the girls before pointing at me. The girls left disappointed. What did you say to them? I asked curiously. Hunter looked at me aggrieved. I told them my girlfriend was watching me, and she probably wouldn't agree. Hearing this, I blushed and coughed a few times, shoving a bucket of popcorn into his arms before turning to walk into the theater. Hunter quickly caught up, though I couldn't see his face, I knew he was smiling. Chapter 7. After the movie, Hunter drove me back to my dormitory. Just as I turned to leave, he suddenly took off his mask, wrapped his arms around my waist, and kissed my forehead. A gift box somehow appeared in my hand. After kissing me, Hunter's cheeks turned red as he quickly got back into the car. In his haste, he fumbled a bit before finally driving away. I felt my cheeks burning, not sure if it was from the cold or from shyness. Back in my dorm, I opened the gift box to find a beautiful bracelet inside. I looked at the somewhat old bracelet I was wearing. This one was a gift from Gordon on my 18th birthday. Back then, I swore I'd wear it for the rest of my life. Later, I found out that this bracelet was originally a gift Gordon had given to another girl, but she thought it was too cheap and didn't want it. Gordon then bought a more expensive one for her and gave this one to me. The bracelet even had the girl's initials engraved on it. Thinking of this, I took off Gordon's bracelet and put on the one Hunter gave me. The next day was Saturday. My home was in the same city, so I usually went back on weekends. Gordon's house was right next door to mine. Our families were close and often had meals together. Today was no exception. Gordon's mother came over early with a bunch of groceries, knocking on our door. I quickly went to help her carry the bags. Gordon's parents had always treated me well, so I respected them a lot. Gordon followed behind his mother, looking at me coldly. "Oh no, I forgot to buy chilies and garlic." "You two go buy them," his mother said. Gordon and I exchanged a glance. We had no reason to refuse, so we went out together. On the way, my phone suddenly rang. It was a WeChat message from Hunter, a cartoon cat saying, "I miss you." I couldn't help but smile a little. Chapter 8. Have you arrived at the airport? Hunter was flying out of town for training today. Once he arrived, his phone would be confiscated, and he wouldn't be able to contact the outside world for several days. "Yes, I'm here." Hunter sent a picture of us from yesterday, showing him kissing my forehead in the snow. Then came a voice message, his tone cautious. "Mona, my agent sent this to me today. I don't know who took it, but it was posted on the school's confession wall. Please don't be angry, okay?" I opened the original image and zoomed in. It clearly showed our profiles, and I realized how close we were yesterday. I couldn't help but smile wider and saved the image. "I'm not angry. Focus on your training, Hunter." "Okay, I'm boarding now. Wait for me to come back," followed by a silly dog smile emoji. I couldn't help but laugh. Was this really the cold and composed genius Go player the news always talked about? The surroundings suddenly became noisy. I looked up to see a few girls approaching Gordon, asking for his WeChat. Gordon glanced at me, then happily took out his phone. Of course, it's an honor to be added by beautiful girls. The girls laughed even more at his words and invited him to hang out. Gordon said he was busy and promised to go next time. Seeing this scene used to make me feel sad and angry. Now, I could stand aside as an observer, thinking how fake Gordon's smile was. Gordon suddenly leaned close to me. "Are you mad?" "No," I replied calmly. "Take me off your blacklist, and I'll delete the contacts of those two girls," Gordon said confidently, as if he was sure I would agree. I ignored him. Suddenly, Gordon took my phone out of my pocket. "Stop being stubborn. Do you really think you can keep me in the blacklist forever? If you remove me, we can go back to the way things were before." Gordon raised the phone high. I reached out to get my phone back, revealing my slender wrist. When he saw the bracelet Hunter had given me, Gordon's pupils shrank. He suddenly grabbed my hand. "Where's your bracelet?" Chapter 9. While Gordon was stunned, I took back my phone. "I don't know where I lost it." "Don't know? Didn't you say you would always wear it? Think about where you lost it, and we'll go look for it together." Gordon pulled my hand and tried to go search. I pulled my hand back. "It's just a bracelet that nobody wanted." Why are you so anxious? What do you mean nobody wanted it? I bought it especially for you. I couldn't stand his pretentious behavior anymore and couldn't help but say, Zoe, the initials on the bracelet. Gordon, do you still dare say you bought it especially for me? Gordon was stunned, perhaps even forgetting who he originally intended the bracelet for. I turned around. You go buy the stuff yourself. I'm heading home. After returning home, I went straight to my room. The good mood I had was ruined by Gordon. Remembering Hunter's confession wall, I checked it. Perhaps because it was the weekend, not many people were active. The photo didn't get much attention, with only a few people complimenting us. My mood gradually calmed, and I started studying, trying to completely forget the unpleasant events. When my parents called me for dinner, I didn't go out. I just said I was tired and wanted to sleep. Monday morning, I had classes, so I returned to school early. For some reason, I felt like my classmates were all watching me, pointing and whispering. At first, I thought I had accidentally worn pajamas back to school. I looked down and saw that I was dressed normally. Entering the classroom, I saw Gordon holding his phone, looking at me coldly. I glanced at his phone and saw the photo of Hunter kissing my forehead. A girl next to him saw me and immediately said loudly to Spring, luckily, Spring knows the inside story, or we'd really think someone is Hunter's girlfriend. Turns out she's just a clingy girl. Spring smiled awkwardly. Hunter and I have been neighbors since we were little. We grew up together. Both his parents are well-known lawyers. He's just well-mannered and doesn't know how to reject clingy girls. I've talked to Hunter's mom several times, but he always worries about hurting those girls' feelings. Hearing this, I understood what had happened. Chapter 10. Everyone seemed to be waiting for my explanation, but I just sat down expressionlessly and took up my phone to check the confession wall. Initially, many people were shipping us. Late at night, someone posted a long message saying I was clingy with Hunter, always pestering him. Then, many people followed up, claiming they often saw me sticking to Hunter. They even said I was two-timing, confessing to Gordon while entangling with Hunter, calling me a scumbag. Public opinion overwhelmingly turned against me. Suddenly, a girl sat next to me. Mona, you really are a clingy girl. You used to pester Gordon, and now you're after Hunter. I advise you to give up. Hunter will never like you. He prefers girls like Spring, who are from good families. Others chimed in. Yeah, if Hunter really liked Mona, he would have come out to clarify by now. With all this fuss, it shows he doesn't care about her at all. Spring walked over to Gordon's seat and glanced at him. Don't say that. Even if Hunter likes me, I still have to consider it. I didn't respond, just picked up my book and started reading. In situations like this, saying more is useless. People will only believe what they want to believe. Final exams were next month, and I needed to keep my GPA high to achieve my goals for the next semester. Suddenly, there was a surprised shout from Spring. Gordon, is this for me? How did you know I love this brand of chocolate? Spring had spotted a beautifully packaged box of chocolates on Gordon's desk and was about to open it. Gordon quickly snatched it away. Spring was stunned. Gordon patted her head. Be good. I'll buy you something better next time. Even Spring, despite being slow to catch on, understood the chocolates weren't for her and looked slightly embarrassed. Oh, it's fine. I've had enough chocolate lately anyway. Gordon placed the chocolates on my desk. I don't like eating them, so they can go to someone else. Everyone was surprised, not expecting Gordon to extend an olive branch. This was the first time Gordon had taken the initiative to apologize to me in the past. I was always the one to make peace after a fight. Spring's expression had already turned awkward, but she forced a smile. After all that's happened, Mona could use something sweet to lift her spirits. I pushed the chocolates away and said coldly, "I'm not a trash can. Don't give me things you don't want." No one expected me to refuse Gordon. Gordon picked up the chocolates, anger evident on his face, but he couldn't show it in public, so he gritted his teeth. Fine. To prove he didn't want them, Gordon walked over to the trash can and threw the chocolates away. Spring's face turned even more sour, as she had just expressed interest in those chocolates, and now Gordon had discarded them rather than give them to her. Chapter 11. I thought the matter would soon blow over, but it escalated, even spreading beyond the school. Almost everyone knew about it, and I felt the stares and whispers wherever I went. But this didn't affect me. I continued doing what I needed to do, ignoring other people's looks. Until one time, I returned from the library restroom and found a note with insults on my desk. I looked around but didn't see anyone suspicious, so I quietly put it into my bag. Eventually, this matter reached the school authorities. The counselor called me in for a talk. "I completely believe you didn't do this, but now that the whole school is talking about it, to ensure your mental health and calm things down quickly, how about taking a week off to rest at home?" I believe the counselor had my best interests in mind, considering that university counselors are most afraid of students getting into trouble, but I still refused, speaking calmly and firmly, "I won't go home. This matter doesn't affect me. If there's nothing else, I'll head to my class now." Seeing I couldn't be persuaded, the counselor let me go. When I went to the gym to get equipment, I encountered Gordon standing in the corner. During this time, I had basically treated him as invisible. Everyone also gradually sensed that Gordon's mood was growing worse, and his temper was becoming more volatile. This time, I intended to continue ignoring him, but he grabbed my arm. "Find a time for the 50th confession, and I'll agree. Then the rumors will naturally disappear." I pulled away. "No need. I'll handle it myself." My confessions ended after the 49th one. A look of hurt flashed in Gordon's eyes, followed by a sneer. "Mona, how long do you plan to play this game? Or do you really want to be with Hunter, hoping he'll come to help you? Stop dreaming. If he really cared about you, how could he not show up for so long? With his status, he's seen all kinds of women. How could he possibly be interested in you?" I didn't respond and walked past him directly. I knew Hunter had been in training during this time and didn't know what was happening, but if he knew, what would he do? Even if he wanted to speak up, his manager probably wouldn't allow it. Chapter 12. On Saturday morning, I rarely slept in but was woken up by my roommate shaking my bed vigorously. "Mona, stop sleeping. Get up and watch this video." Reluctantly, I took the phone and saw it was an interview video of Hunter. In it, he was showing the reporter how he used his phone's notepad to record Go knowledge. The camera caught Hunter's phone wallpaper, which was a photo of him kissing my forehead. A sharp-eyed reporter immediately asked, "Who's the girl in the wallpaper? Is she your girlfriend?" Hunter rarely smiled on camera but did so this time. "Not yet, but I'm working hard to pursue her. I hope she will be in the future." Hearing this, I was completely awake. I grabbed my phone and saw that Hunter had messaged me that morning, got on the plane. "Wait for me," followed by an emoji of a dog running desperately. In the dormitory, my roommate sighed with envy and jealousy. The topic Hunter's girlfriend quickly exploded online. There were various opinions online, but most people were shipping us. Am I the only one who thinks Hunter being so openly protective is super manly? Woohoo, my new husband got taken so quickly. I'm heartbroken. I know this matter caused a big stir at their school. The girl was always being called clingy. Who knew the truth was like this? Hunter is so good. Sis, just say yes. There were also many messages from others on WeChat, but I didn't reply to any. I got out of bed, packed up, and went to the library. On the way, people still whispered about me, but instead of the disdainful looks from the past few days, there was now a hint of envy. I studied until the evening when my phone received a WeChat message from Hunter, waiting for you at the library in trance, along with an emoji of a dog looking longingly. I packed up my things and went out. Seeing Hunter in the corner. Not seeing him for a few days, he seemed thinner, indicating how tough the training had been. As I approached, Hunter rested his head on my forehead. I reached out to support him. What's wrong? Don't move. Let me recharge. As he spoke, Hunter's warm breath blew onto my neck, tickling me. He pulled me into a tight hug, rubbing his head against my shoulder. Sorry, I didn't know you were going through all this at school. I didn't blame him. It's okay. I already reported it to the police. When in trouble, call the police. I had reported it as soon as the incident began. I didn't mention it to avoid alerting the perpetrator. Chapter 13. Hunter nodded. Indeed. No one can bully my Mona. I couldn't help but ask, did your manager agree to this Go Knowledge notepad? He had all his Go Knowledge in his head. When did he start recording it on his phone? He just wanted the reporter to see his wallpaper. Hunter chuckled lightly. Of course not. He's busy negotiating with several advertisers right now. Although Hunter wasn't a star, his excellent appearance and genius Go player status attracted a lot of attention, including many girlfriend fans. Many advertisers wanted Hunter to shoot commercials. Hunter's actions today undoubtedly broke the hearts of many girlfriend fans. Now his manager had his hands full. After a moment of silence, I heard my own voice. Hunter, let's give it a try. When I saw Hunter outside the library earlier, I had already made this decision. I had to admit I was happy when Hunter openly expressed his love. I thought maybe I had liked Hunter for a long time. Since I was sure of my feelings, I didn't want to keep him hanging anymore. I just wanted to be close to him. Hunter's movements paused, and he asked in disbelief, Mona, what do you mean by that? I smiled brightly. It means let's try dating. Hunter looked at me with bright, joyful eyes. What do you mean try? I won't try. If you agree to be with me, you'll be stuck with me for life. I nodded firmly. Yes, for life. Who's afraid of whom? Outside the library stood a boy so happy he had tears in his eyes. Chapter 14. In the days that followed, Hunter really stuck to me all the time. Coincidentally, there were no competitions or training sessions during this period, so Hunter would come to find me as soon as he finished class. Occasionally, I would see Gordon on the way. His gaze always held a hint of complexity when he looked at me. Every time this happened, Hunter would block my view. Don't look at him. Look at me. His jealousy was so strong that he wanted to be with me every moment. Just like today. While I was still in class, Hunter messaged me, class over yet? Let's have dinner together, followed by an emoji of a joyful bouncing dog. I replied with a smile, okay. Unexpectedly, at that moment, Gordon also sent a message, wait for me at the classroom door after class. I have something for you. I guessed he might have sent it to the wrong person since we hadn't been in contact for a long time, so I simply didn't reply. Chapter 15. After class, I had just walked out when I saw many people running outside, saying there was a fight. Feeling uneasy, I hurried out. Sure enough, it was Hunter and Gordon. Several guys were separating them. Spring was by Gordon's side, checking his injuries, while I ran to Hunter. Are you okay? Why is your hand bleeding? Hunter, who had initially wanted to punch Gordon a few more times, calmed down slightly when he saw me. I was about to take Hunter away. Gordon's voice came from behind. Mona, are you blind? Clearly, I'm more seriously injured. Why do you only care about him? I replied impatiently, isn't there someone by your side? What's wrong with me caring about my boyfriend? Stop bothering me. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw a bracelet box that had fallen near Gordon. I guess this might be what he wanted to give me. Ignoring the hurt in his eyes, I supported Hunter and left. Belated affection is worth less than grass. I no longer needed anything from him. I called a cab, planning to take Hunter to the hospital. Hunter stubbornly refused to go to the hospital. In the end, he said there was a first aid kit at home, so I compromised and went to his place. It was my first time at Hunter's place, which he had bought himself. It hurts, it hurts, it hurts. While I was applying medicine, Hunter kept crying out in pain, his whole demeanor shouting wronged. I said sternly, if you know it hurts, why did you fight? Don't you know how important a Go player's hands are? How will you play if you injure them? Hunter replied firmly, even if I lose this hand, I won't let anyone speak ill of you in front of me. Hearing it was for me, my heart softened. Fool. Hunter leaned in, speaking in a coaxing tone, it still hurts. I pushed Hunter's head away. Fine, let it hurt. Hunter refused to leave and pulled me onto the sofa, sitting me on his lap. Looking into each other's eyes, I felt his breath quickening, filled with a seductive note. Can I, Mona? My response was a kiss. Hunter, realizing what was happening, cupped my cheek with one hand and held the back of my head with the other, deepening the kiss. I couldn't help but wrap my arms around his neck. Between kisses, I said, idiot, you don't need to ask to kiss your girlfriend. Just hold me tight and kiss me. This earned me an even tighter embrace from Hunter. Chapter 16. The next day, I saw Spring's official announcement on her social media. She and Gordon were officially together. Many people liked the post, praising them as a perfect match. I felt nothing about it. After all, finals were approaching, and I had no time to think about irrelevant people. For the sake of convenience during revision, I asked Hunter to come find me less often. Though he was a bit upset, he listened and didn't disturb me. Besides, he had exams to take too. I once asked Hunter why, despite being so good at Go, he chose to study law. Hunter replied calmly, my parents have had a bad relationship since I was a kid. They never asked for my opinion on anything. Both of them are lawyers and want me to be one too. They said I had to at least graduate successfully from law school or they wouldn't let me continue playing Go. I frowned with concern. Isn't that really tough on you? It was hard at first, but after meeting you, I think it was the best decision my parents ever made, Hunter said, pressing his forehead to mine with a smile. University exams can take anywhere from 2 weeks to a month. Right after finishing a few exams, Spring was taken away by the police. She was suspected of hiring online trolls to defame others and inciting others to place insulting notes. She needed to go to the police station for further investigation. Only then did everyone realize that the previous rumors were also spread by Spring's hired online trolls to slander me. Later, Gordon texted me wanting to meet, but I refused. The matter ended with Spring apologizing to me in front of the entire school and posting a public apology online. Instantly, the confession wall was filled with people mocking spring. This time, no online trolls were hired. Everyone's feelings were genuine. Even those who had confessed to Spring on the confession wall were now ashamed of it. Gordon and Spring broke up not long after. The final exam results came out quickly. To everyone's surprise, I surpassed Gordon this time, becoming the top student in the entire grade, and my goal was finally within reach. Chapter 17. At the start of the second semester, I took my study abroad application form to the counselor's office. That's right, this was the reason I had been studying so hard all these years. A long time ago, I decided I wanted to pursue a career in international law. If I could secure a spot at a prestigious foreign university, it would greatly benefit my future career. Just as I stepped out of the counselor's office, I ran into Gordon. "You're going abroad?" It seemed he had overheard my conversation with the counselor. I nodded and was about to leave, but he stopped me from behind. "If I confess to you one last time, would you stay?" Gordon's tone was filled with humble pleading, just like mine had been before. I shook my head. "Gordon, it's too late. I decided to go abroad a long time ago." Gordon released his grip on me, seeming to let go of the last bit of his obsession. That evening, Hunter's manager called me. Hunter had gotten drunk and kept calling my name. It took all my effort to bring him home. Actually, Hunter was usually good with alcohol. Even when drunk, he just clung to me, calling me wife. "Why did you drink so much?" I asked patiently. Hunter pointed to his heart. "It hurts here. My wife is going abroad, and I won't see her. It hurts." It felt like my heart was stabbed too. Hunter's mentor would stay in the country for the next few years, and since Hunter hadn't graduated yet, he had to stay and study with him. His mentor said that to play Go, one must first calm the mind. He wouldn't even let Hunter participate in competitions, asking him to settle his temperament first. This meant we would be in a long-distance relationship for several years. "So, do you want me to stay?" In my heart, I had considered if I would stay if Hunter asked me to. The answer was no. Law was my dream, and while Hunter was working hard for his dream, I had to strive for mine too. Hunter shook his head drowsily. "These are my problems to solve. I want to help her achieve her dreams, better not become a burden holding her back." Before I had time to be touched, Hunter kissed me. "Why are you ambushing me?" "My wife said that to kiss your wife, you don't need to ask." As I drifted into a daze, I couldn't help but think, even drunk, he remembers things clearly. Chapter 18. The next day, Hunter was gone when I woke up. Even when I boarded the plane to go abroad, Hunter didn't come to see me off. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed since I arrived abroad. Today, just as I left the supermarket, it started to snow outside. I remembered last year's snowfall when Hunter kissed my forehead. I suddenly missed him so much and wondered what he was doing now. As my thoughts wandered, I seemed to see Hunter standing across the street. Thinking it was an illusion, the Hunter in front of me suddenly ran towards me. It wasn't until he held me tightly that I realized it wasn't an illusion. Hunter had really come to find me. I still couldn't believe it. "How did you get here?" "I missed you too much. I couldn't imagine life without you." So, I spent over a month defeating my mentor and convincing my parents. Then, I rushed over to find you. So, over the past month, he had no time to contact me because he was dealing with these matters. "Mona, I have no one now, so I have to cling to you." With warm tears in my eyes, I pulled Hunter down and kissed him hard. Let him cling. After all, we're going to spend a lifetime together. Chapter 19 Later, once when I was snuggled in Hunter's arms, drowsy, I asked him why he liked me. Hunter smiled and kissed my hair. It's a story about a little boy and a little girl. The little boy, because of his parents' arguments, was sent to his grandmother's house. The little girl happened to be there for the summer vacation too. That summer, the little girl, who was bright and cheerful, used her light-heartedness to brighten the gloomy and lonely heart of the little boy.